Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ video right here on NoDQ.com as always, and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. Thank you guys for your continued support. Thank you for checking out NoDQ Live this week, and thank you for those of you that checked out the Rifter Rooney video. Yes, it was the whitest video you'll ever see. What will I do next time? If I hit 300 live viewers on Monday, I will do some other crazy, outrageous, ridiculous stunt on the YouTube channel. So please spread the word. Tell a friend about NoDQ video, NoDQ Live, and the channel in general. With that being said, let's get down to your questions. First one comes from Sean T. Flick. Could you see a swerve happening at Hell in a Cell where Sami Zayn helps Kevin Owens win? Yes, I could potentially see a Sami Zayn heel turn. We did see Enzo Amore turn heel. Anything's possible. Just because Sami Zayn is over as a babyface and he sells merchandise doesn't mean that he's immune from a heel turn. Do I think it's a good idea? On paper, no, but I think maybe he could benefit from something like that. I don't see Sami Zayn as a heel character. I feel like he is a modern-day Ricky Steamboat. He's the type of character that will always be a babyface underdog. Who knows? Maybe it would work, though. If Owens and Zayn were paired up, it does make sense from a storyline perspective because on SmackDown this week, you had Shane McMahon accidentally hurt Sami Zayn when he ran out to go after Owens, and then you had Shane show no compassion for Sami Zayn. He was so focused on Owens that he wasn't even checking on Sami Zayn to see if he was okay or not. So this could play into the storyline. Maybe this is where WWE is going. At least it would make sense, and I think a lot of us have been waiting for a Sami Zayn-Kevin Owens alliance, whether they're faces or heels. I could see it possibly happening, and maybe it could work. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens work well enough together. Maybe they could make some magic happen as heels. Who knows? I'm not going to just write it off and say it's going to fail if WWE does it. It might give Sami Zayn a serious career boost. You just don't know. And at this point, maybe it's worth the try. What do you guys think? Let me know. Should Sami Zayn turn heel and join up with Kevin Owens? Let me know what you think. Got this one here from Richard Graves. Do you think the fans would get behind Roman Reigns if the Shield reformed even for one night? I think to a degree. I think the Shield would obviously get the big pop, but I could see Roman Reigns getting tagged in and the fans still booing, and you know, they'll do the chants, "You still suck," even when Reigns is in there with Rollins and Ambrose. So I think it will help temporarily. The fans, of course, will pop for the nostalgia and pop for the idea and the concept of the Shield being back together, but I doubt it's going to do anything for Roman Reigns long term. It might, for a brief period, give him a little bit more popularity, but that's about it. I don't see the fans getting behind him long term. Again, I think they'll do the "You still suck" chant when he's out there. WWE will do everything in their power to get the fans to cheer Roman. You could have Ambrose and Rollins, you know, raising Roman's hand and endorsing him just like Cena endorsed Reigns and Rock endorsed Reigns and Undertaker left his gear in the ring for Reigns and so on. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure there's anything that can change how the fans feel about Roman Reigns unless all of a sudden he becomes the best talker in WWE and they give him some really solid lines for him to use and his character becomes more interesting and more edgy and something different. Unless there's real change with the character, I don't think he's really going to get over as a babyface no matter what WWE tries to do. Got this one here from Jishnu. Hey Aaron, does a Shield reunion mean Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel main eventing a pay-per-view? Is that finally going to happen? It looks like it. Now, I did mention on NoDQ Live, I'm not a big fan of the Miztourage being the opponents for a reunited Shield. I just think if this was going to be a long-term plan in WWE, and my gut feeling is it isn't, you would have built up Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel bigger. They just don't have much credibility. So yeah, they are going to get a pay-per-view main event, but it's like Jinder Mahal. You can't just throw these guys into a main event match all of a sudden and have the fans see them as credible. You need to slowly build them up over time. So I'm not a big fan of it. I'd rather WWE form a super heel team, maybe The Miz with Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, something like that, where it's like a super group of the top most credible heels against the Shield. So at least there's a little bit of belief that the bad guys could possibly win. I mean, Miz Taraj, do they really have any chance whatsoever of beating the Shield in the Shield's reunion match? I mean, come on now. It's just like The Rock and John Cena against Miz and R-Truth from 2011. Not a fan. This one comes from Jay. Hey bro, do you think if they saved the Roman and Cena match till the Royal Rumble, do you think it would have been better? I'm fine with them just getting it over with. What they did at No Mercy, I know it's not popular with a lot of people, but if you go back to the predictions video that we did on NoDQ, I said if the end result is Roman Reigns beating John Cena, which is what logically makes sense. I mean, ultimately, Cena should be putting over Reigns and endorsing Reigns. I mean, it makes sense. Cena is passing the torch, and whether we like it or not, Roman Reigns is the guy that WWE is going with. So I said that if it was going to be a one-off match, Reigns should win. And my opinion, when I did the predictions, I said they should just get it over with. Just let Reigns beat Cena in a one-off match and move on to something else. So yeah, you could have waited until the Royal Rumble, but the fact is, Cena's doing movies, he's doing other projects. His future schedule is a big question mark right now, and I think WWE might have other plans for John Cena. They got other plans for Roman Reigns, and they just felt it's either now or never, so they chose to do it now and just get it over with, which I'm fine with. You know what? It is what it is. I'm okay with it. This one comes from Brandon King. What is the point of bosses arriving so late at shows? It just makes it look like they give zero craps about the show. The real reason that it's scripted that way is obviously to build suspense. You want to save Vince coming out for the final segment and try to build up the ratings and pop a number at the very end. But storyline-wise, it really doesn't make any sense. Why would Vince show up late for his own shows? Realistically, he's there every show, you know, from the early part of the day. He oversees everything. The idea that the Mr. McMahon character would show up late to his own show and storyline, it's just so silly and so ridiculous. I'm not a fan of it. How hard is it to just have Vince say, I'm here, but I'm going to go out there when I'm ready? That's all they need to do. Don't say he hasn't arrived yet. And they do that all the time, and I do find it to be annoying. It is one of my wrestling pet peeves, but, you know, things are not going to change. That's the way WWE likes to script these kind of segments, and I don't think they're going to change because Aaron Rift is upset about it. This one comes from Cheyenne. Do you think that Enzo's heel turn will keep him alive in WWE? Perhaps. I've seen mixed reviews about Enzo turning heel. On one hand, he was over as a babyface. Why risk that by changing his character and turning him heel? On the other hand, he is so good on the mic that you might as well try and take advantage of that. The fact that people are getting annoyed by him and he's got some real life heat, why not play up on that? I've said it before many times in the past. Sometimes the best storylines are the ones that parallel real life. You take something that happened in real life and you implement it into a storyline, and that leads to some really compelling storylines like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. Their backstage heat was turned into a storyline. The whole thing with Matt Hardy, Edge, and Lita, that was turned into a storyline. So if Enzo has real heat, I can see Vince, the wheels spinning in his head. He's thinking, you know what? Let's just go with this. We're going to make Enzo this hated heel. The whole locker room hates him. All the cruiserweights hate him. And we're going to play up on real life. And it looks like that's what they're doing. And, you know, it made for some compelling television this week. I thought that the 205 Live segments were entertaining. Alright, this one comes from Torvik. Hey Aaron, with the beating Enzo took after Raw, it seems to me that that would make him good with the boys in the back. Your thoughts? Not necessarily, because it was a worked beating. It's not like they were all stiffing him. At least I don't think they were. I think the cruiserweights are just happy to be getting some sort of attention. I know some people feel the cruiserweights are getting buried, and maybe they were a little bit, but hopefully this leads to more people watching 205 Live. I think the idea is that Enzo can boost the division and get more people watching. And if that happens and more people like the cruiserweight division, then it's a win for everybody. And I think if people are making money, then they'll overlook whatever heat Enzo has in real life. At the end of the day, everyone involved, at least they should be professional, and they should go along with whatever is happening and just try to make some money together and just focus on the business. This one comes from ASG. Why not let the cruiserweights go for the Raw tag titles too? Give them exposure and stuff to do. Plus, size isn't as important in teams. That's a good point. I think it might be a nice idea to expand the cruiserweight universe, and I think Enzo was a step in that direction, where Enzo is part of the main roster with the heavyweights and also part of the cruiserweight division. At least he was a few weeks ago. He was going back and forth. But I like that. I was never really a big fan of the cruiserweights being in their own little separate universe. I think there should be more interaction. And, you know, they're doing this stuff with Titus O'Neil and Tozawa. I think that stuff is good to have the cruiserweights interacting more. And, yeah, maybe have the cruiserweights go for the tag titles and do something like that to change things up a little bit. I'm definitely a fan of trying that and doing that as a way to help build up the cruiserweights and give them something else to do besides just competing for the cruiserweight title. And usually it's one guy in the main feud for the cruiserweight title with the champion, and then everyone else is in this secondary storyline that isn't really given much thought process to. This one is from Sean Tate. What are your thoughts on WWE asking fans on the survey what they want to see outside of WWE, like Ring of Honor, New Japan, TNA, ICW, and so forth? I think it is what it is. It's just WWE trying to gauge the fans and see what they are interested in or not interested in. It's funny because I've had people message me saying that they checked no for the interest in TNA, and if anything, that might convince WWE that TNA is not worth investing any money in terms of maybe trying to buy the legal rights. I just think WWE is trying to figure out what the fans will pay money to watch on the network. And I know WWE is talking about this idea of doing a premium tier service. So, you know, you would have the $9.99 for the regular stuff, and maybe for an additional fee, you get some extras, and WWE is exploring the options with that right now. You know, I said all along, I think WWE made a mistake with only charging $9.99. I think it's way too little for what WWE is giving away. It's such a huge bargain. I mean, the pay-per-views alone, it's well worth $9.99. I think WWE could have gotten away with as much as maybe $14.99. So I think they definitely left money on the table with that, and maybe, you know, they're trying to tweak things with the network and see what they can do, what other content they can put on the network, and maybe charge a little bit more and see where they can go with it. This one comes from Lester. Why do they use the same set for everything except WrestleMania and no pyro? WWE used to be different with their presentation. The short, easy answer is that WWE is trying to save money. Now you may ask yourself, wait a minute, all the people in WWE are saying they're doing better business than ever. The thing about WWE is they are a very well-oiled machine. They know how to cut corners and save money. And sometimes they can save enough money and it creates an artificial bump in profit. And WWE could say, hey, look, we're making more money than ever. But really what they did was just cut costs. So it creates this illusion that they're making more money than they actually are. I mean, that's the thing about WWE. And, you know, they're always trying to impress the stockholders, and, you know, they're a public company, so they're always maneuvering and doing all these different tactics to try to inflate the numbers. And sometimes, you know, for a quarter, they might need to cut some costs to get those profits up, and getting rid of Pyro is one way they can do that, and doing the generic sets. And the thing is, now in the HD era with the screens and everything, you know, WWE can do all sorts of different designs with the screens. So maybe their attitude is, you know, there's no point in doing the custom sets anymore because of the technology. They can just do all these cool effects with the HD screens. You know, that might be their reasoning for it. But yeah, they're basically just trying to get their profits up, and that's one of the reasons why they cut corners. Even if they're still making a profit, you know, they're always trying to get the numbers up for whatever reason, and cutting costs is a way to do that. Alright, this one comes from James. Should Alexa Bliss keep the title to look strong whilst Asuka goes through the roster to earn a shot at her against WrestleMania? I like that idea. I think it is very practical. You should build up somebody for Asuka and maybe have the champion stay strong until WrestleMania and then have Asuka as the strong challenger. I like the idea. Whether it's Alexa Bliss or somebody else, I definitely think the champion should be protected and have Asuka work her way up, have her go through the division before finally getting the match with the champion. I definitely think that that's a very solid idea. Will WWE do it? It's hard to say. I mean, it would not shock me if WWE just decided to rush Asuka's push, have her come in, win the title right away, and peak early. And some might argue that that's the right thing. You know, she is undefeated. She had to forfeit the title because of her injury. But on the other hand, I think you want to build that up and not do it too quickly. You know, some would argue that maybe Goldberg got the world title too soon against Hollywood Hogan. They should have saved that for Starrcade. And I think that, you know, definitely it was a mistake to put that on free television. But, you know, they could have waited on that for sure. And I think in this case also with Asuka, I think you want to make people wait for it. And you want to save it for a big event when she finally captures the big one. But she needs a strong opponent. So whether it's Asuka or somebody else, the champion needs to be portrayed as the best in the world. Got this one here from Andy. Who is the biggest non-wrestler death to affect the business? I think I would go with Vince Sr. because once Vince Sr. passed the company to Vince Jr., that's when the changes really started. And it was when Vince Sr. passed away that the changes really started with WWE going national. I wonder if Vince Sr. had lived, if Vince Jr. would have slowed down a little bit with his attempt to take over everything and sign all the talents from the territories and make this national empire that became the WWF, now WWE. You have to wonder if you know, Vince Sr. would have been upset about that and Vince Jr. would have slowed down. It's hard to say. But I definitely think Vince Jr. taking over the company and Vince Sr. fading away definitely changed the industry very significantly, possibly more than anybody else. You know, the absence of Vince Sr. is really what set the stage for Vince Jr. to make the World Wrestling Federation the biggest wrestling promotion on the planet. That'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ Video. Again, thank you guys for watching, your viewership, your support. I truly do appreciate it. You guys checking out the videos and sharing it on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, Reddit, any site you go on. Anybody you know who watches wrestling, call them up, text them, send them a smoke signal, let them know about the videos. They might find something interesting if they check it out. Maybe they'll become a fan, who knows, but it's worth a shot. You know, it's definitely worth checking out. I'm guessing if you guys enjoy the videos, then you feel it's worth checking out, and you should tell a friend. That would be very helpful. And I do appreciate every one of you that go out there and spread the word. So thank you, and I will see you guys next time for another edition of NoDQ Video.